Genesis 38 is a significant chapter in the Bible that stands out because it interrupts the Joseph narrative with the story of Judah and Tamar. Here's an overview of the key events in Genesis 38. Before we start, we'd like to ask for your support. If you enjoy our video, please hit the like button. This will help us reach more people and create content for you. Now let's get started with today's video. Genesis 38 is an intriguing interlude in the story of Joseph, as it diverts to focus on Judah, one of Jacob's 12 sons. The chapter opens by explaining that Judah went down from his brothers and found a friend in Hira, an Adullamite. It's significant that Judah distances himself from his brothers, as this hints at a separation not only geographically but also spiritually, considering the moral choices he makes in the subsequent story. Judah's marriage to a Canaanite woman. Judah marries the daughter of a Canaanite man named Shua. This union is noteworthy because it breaks from the tradition of marrying within the family line, something that both Isaac and Jacob were careful to observe. Marrying a Canaanite woman reflects Judah's departure from the customs of his fathers, possibly foreshadowing the troubled events to come. Judah and his wife have 3 sons, Er, Onan, and Shelah. These sons are significant in the unfolding drama of this chapter, especially as they come of age and start to seek wives of their own. The marriage of Er and Tamar. Judah arranges a marriage for his eldest son, Er, with a woman named Tamar. The name Tamar is significant in the biblical narrative, as she becomes a central figure in this chapter's events. However, Er's wickedness leads to divine punishment, but Er, Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord put him to death. The nature of Er's wickedness is not specified, but it is serious enough to warrant his immediate death. In the biblical context, death as a consequence of sin was a direct form of divine judgment. With Er dead and without an heir, the custom of Levirate marriage comes into play. Levirate marriage and Onan's sin. According to the ancient custom, when a man dies without an heir, his brother is expected to marry the widow to produce offspring in his brother's name. Judah instructs his second son, Onan, to marry Tamar and fulfill his duty as a brother-in-law. However, Onan refuses to fulfill his responsibility fully. While he marries Tamar and has sexual relations with her, he deliberately prevents conception by spilling his seed on the ground. Onan's sin was not simply about his refusal to have children, but his conscious rebellion against the familial duty of providing an heir for his deceased brother. This act of selfishness displeased the Lord, and, like his older brother Er, Onan is struck dead. Judah's deception and Tamar's plight. With both Er and Onan dead, Judah begins to fear that marrying Tamar is somehow cursed. He tells Tamar to return to her father's house and wait until his youngest son, Shelah, grows up, promising that he will give her to Shelah in marriage once he is of age. However, Judah has no intention of fulfilling this promise, as he fears that Shelah might also die if he marries Tamar. Tamar is left in a precarious position. As a childless widow, her social and economic standing is severely diminished, and Judah's broken promise leaves her with no recourse. In the ancient world, a woman in her position was vulnerable, without the protection and provision that a husband or sons could provide. Tamar's plan to secure her future. After some time, Judah's wife, the daughter of Shua, dies. Judah mourns her passing, and once his mourning period is over, he goes to Timnah to shear his sheep, accompanied by his friend Hira. Tamar, realizing that Judah has no intention of giving her to Shelah as a wife, devises a plan to secure her place in the family. Tamar disguises herself as a prostitute and positions herself along the road to Timnah, where she knows Judah will pass by. Judah, not recognizing her as his daughter-in-law, propositions her. They agree on a price. Judah promises to send her a young goat from his flock, but Tamar demands a pledge to guarantee he will send the goat. She asks for his signet, cord, and staff as collateral. These items are significant because they are personal identifiers of Judah's identity and authority. Tamar conceives. Judah gives Tamar the pledge and sleeps with her, resulting in her becoming pregnant. Afterward, Judah sends the young goat with Hira to retrieve his items, but Hira cannot find the woman, Tamar, and is told that no temple prostitute has been in the area. Judah decides to let the matter drop to avoid public embarrassment. 3 months later, news reaches Judah that Tamar is pregnant. Since she was still legally bound to the family, Judah assumes she has committed prostitution, and in a moment of self-righteousness, he orders that she be burned to death, a severe punishment according to the customs of the time. Tamar reveals the truth. As Tamar is brought out to be executed, she sends a message to Judah, revealing that the father of her child is the man who owns the signet, cord, and staff. When Judah sees these items, he realizes the truth and declares, "She is more righteous than I, since I did not give her to my son Shelah." Judah's admission is profound. Not only does he recognize his own failure in keeping his promise to Tamar, but he also acknowledges that Tamar acted justly in ensuring the continuation of her family line. This moment marks a turning point for Judah, as he takes responsibility for his actions. The birth of Perez and Zer. Tamar gives birth to twins, Perez and Zer. Their birth is marked by a peculiar event. During the delivery, Zer puts out his hand, and the midwife ties a scarlet thread around it, signaling that he is the firstborn. However, Zer pulls his hand back, and Perez is born first, thus becoming the firstborn despite the initial sign given to Zer. This incident of one twin overtaking the other at birth mirrors other biblical stories of sibling rivalry, and the unexpected reversal of fortunes. Its theological weight, as Perez becomes an ancestor of King David and, ultimately, of Jesus Christ. Genesis 38 is a complex chapter that touches on themes of justice, family duty, and the consequences of sin. It contrasts with the surrounding narrative of Joseph's faithfulness in Egypt, highlighting Judah's moral failures and eventual redemption. The inclusion of Tamar, a Canaanite woman, in the genealogy of David and Jesus underscores the idea that God works through unexpected and sometimes scandalous circumstances to fulfill his divine plan. The story of Judah and Tamar also serves as a critique of the patriarchal structures of the time, showing how Tamar, a woman with little power or agency, uses her intelligence and boldness to ensure her rightful place in the family. While her methods may seem questionable, the narrative portrays her as righteous, especially in comparison to Judah's initial dishonesty and failure to care for her as the law required. Finally, the birth of Perez and Zer not only provides the resolution to Tamar's plight but also carries forward the promise of a future leader in the line of Judah. This chapter, though seemingly an interruption in the Joseph story, is essential to the unfolding of God's covenant with Israel, pointing toward the eventual establishment of the Davidic kingdom and the Messianic line. Please subscribe my YouTube channel. I hope you like this video. Thank you.